The June 27th, 2017 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello.
Here.
Mr. Broth.
Here.
Dr. Carbone.
Here.
Mr. Delahanty.
Here.
Chairwoman Draw.
Here.
Mr. Felder.
Here.
Mr. Hebert.
Here.
Ms. Cayley.
Here.
Mr. Marionetti.
Here.
Mr. Morelli.
Here.
Mr. Rocco.
Here.
All here. Okay, thank you. Will Legislator Hebert now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any speakers signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
And I see no one here that would like to address the committee at this time. I move on to the approval of minutes. Next item is you have the minutes before you of the May 23rd, 2017 meeting. They'll stand adjourned unless the clerk is notified by any changes by the end of today. Next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 17-0184.
Moved by Legislator Hebert and seconded by Legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Baroth.
Madam Chair. Through the Chair of the Administration, I have a few questions about this referral. I know from our early committee meetings that there was a discrepancy or an error, an oversight, or however we want to characterize it, between the RFP that was initially passed and distributed and the referral that we passed ourselves back about in February. And that discrepancy resulted in about $23,000 being missing from the sheriff's portion of the contract and about $14,000 from DS's portion of the contract. Is that summary correct to the Chair?
Through the Chair, Holly Moynihan from the Sheriff's Office. That summary is correct.
Thank you. And through the Chair of the Administration, upon further discussion at a previous committee meeting, we did discuss how that the contract itself would take effect, I believe it was August, no, well, it would take effect whenever we pass it, and that the contract terms, in terms of the calendar year, would start then and continue out as if it was just starting 5 months later on. Is that correct through the Chair?
Through the Chair, that is correct.
Thank you. And then also, just to make sure I'm clear, in the meantime, the 5-month delay through the Chair has resulted in the fact that we have to have personnel manually transferring information that would otherwise be automatically transferred by the new system. That's correct through the Chair?
Through the Chair, that is correct.
Thank you. And my question then is, through the Chair of the Administration, is how many staff hours are required to make these manual transfers on either daily, weekly, or whatever is most appropriate basis?
Through the Chair, that would take significant research.
I would accept an estimate through the Chair.
Through the Chair, Commander Fowler for the Sheriff's Office. That would be a wild guess, sir. I would have to go back and look into that.
Well, then, actually, through the Chair of the Administration, because in Environment and Public Works Committee meeting, when we spoke before, at one point it was indicated that I didn't understand the gravity of the problem. So I was led to understand that this was a significant issue and that this is a significant use of time on the part of staff to make these manual transfers. Is that a fair characterization, that this is a significant issue?
Through the Chair, that's not quite accurate, sir. The condition of the legacy system is in a very dire strait, but the amount of manual labor required to bridge the gap between the two systems is not a significant distraction from their normal duties, but it is an additional portion of their workload.
Thank you. Then through the Chair of the Administration, I assume this holds true for both departments, the Sheriff's Department and the DES Department, correct?
Through the Chair, yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Okay. Then if at some point in time, preferably before the full ledge meeting, if you could provide some sort of estimate, I don't really need an exact figure, but an estimate of just what is considered not significant or significant in terms of the hours required, I would appreciate that. Do you believe that would be possible through the Chair?
Through the Chair, yes, we can provide that.
I'd appreciate that. And then finally, through the Chair of the Administration, now that we've determined that there's been an impact, and it's in terms of staff hours primarily, and the shifting of the implementation of the RFP approximately 5 months into the future, how did this oversight between the RFP and what was presented to the legislature occur? Where did the oversight occur?
Through the chair, the significant portion of the error occurred when formulating the additional years of service agreement. Between DES and the Sheriff's Office, we did not have a completely identical contract terms. So when the vendor was providing those quotes for us to use for the referral, the information was very confusing, and we had to go back with them several times to get them to rewrite quotes and to fully understand what both departments were trying to implement.
So, through the chair of the administration, so if I understood this correctly, essentially the DES and the Sheriff's Office separately created the terms of their needs and provided that to whoever actually wrote up the RFP. And by doing so, that was a confusing document for the vendor. Is that correct? Through the chair.
Through the chair, that is correct. The vendor had a very hard time understanding what we were trying to accomplish with this, and both portions were not completely identical.
Thank you. So finally, through the chair of the administration, why is it that the DES and the Sheriff's Department did not communicate together or collaborate together to make the terms either similar or at least in the same document, so that this was not something we put upon the vendor to figure out? Through the chair.
Through the chair, we did significantly collaborate on this together and achieved what we believe to be the best solution possible. The communication with the vendor and back and forth to get those contract terms written out and actually prepared for the referral was where things went wrong. We caught that upon further review and felt it would be disingenuous on our part to enter into a contract that we knew we didn't have funding for.
Okay. So through the chair of the administration, do we still have confidence in this particular vendor to achieve the terms of the contract as revised, or at least as better understood by the vendor?
Through the chair, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't believe I have any other questions right now.
Okay, thank you. Legislator Kaley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the administration. In sitting in, listening to the questions yesterday, it was asked that if this passes this month, the new system will be ready August 1st. Did I hear that correctly?
Through the chair, ready would be a subjective term. We will get started, and we're looking forward to getting started as soon as possible. But we do have to wait for the availability of the vendor and for some equipment resources to arrive once we get approval. So we're tentatively scheduled for about August 1st.
Okay, thank you. And then just understanding that part, up and running is different than training employee or staff on the system. Are we talking August 1st, best case scenario, that people would begin to be trained on the new system, or would they already be familiar with it?
Through the chair.
Through the chair, sorry.
Through the chair, we do not anticipate being able to accomplish any of that before August 1st.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0185.
Moved by Legislator Carbone and seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Any discussion on this? Legislator Kaley.
I'm sorry, made a mistake.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0186.
Moved by Legislator Delahanty and seconded by Legislator Rocco. Any discussion on this? Legislator Kaley?
And through you to the administration, again, sitting in yesterday, I did come up with a couple extra questions, so if I may, through you. What is the total number of body cameras that we have in use today? And I'm not just referring to road patrol, but total number, please.
Through the chair, the Sheriff's Office has a total number of 16 cameras in use.
Thank you. And with this purchase of 20 cameras through the chair, will that be significant in number? Will it cover road patrol? I'm saying not, but.
Through the chair, it will make a significant positive impact, but it will not, it will fall short of covering all of the road patrol deputies, yes.
Thank you. And then through the chair, when we say covering road patrol, it's not just one camera assigned to one officer, but that camera may go from officer to officer?
Through the chair, we would have to purchase an additional license in order to share that camera. So it is assigned to one person. The camera is assigned to one person. We can manually change it but it cannot be assigned to more than one person at one time.
All right, thank you. And then I have down here in through the chair, the question was asked, as to the cost per camera, roughly $1,250 each, but that also includes, I believe, maintenance and repair. Is that correct?
Through the chair, it includes a service agreement and the storage fees for the data, as well as the physical equipment. So 20 is what we anticipate being able to purchase with that amount of money, but pending no price increases by the vendor or anything like that.
All right, thank you. And then I guess I always ask this question through the chair. Could I get a breakdown of what the actual cost is per the equipment, per the repair agreement, and per the storage?
Through the chair, absolutely. We can provide a copy of the quote.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? Legislator Barath.
Through the chair of the administration, I have a follow-up question. You just stated that the $1,250 per camera includes the storage fees for the data. My understanding had been that the data expenses are one of the most significant costs associated with body cameras. Are there any other major fees associated with these cameras, or is that really just it, $1,250, and that's all?
Through the chair, the two significant costs are the storage fees being the most significant, and a close second would be the licensing fee for the camera. That's just the license to use the service per camera is very expensive.
Thank you. So, just so I'm clear, so the $1,250 includes the cost of the camera, the license fee, and the storage costs altogether, correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Prices have gone down. That's great. Then I have an unrelated question as another follow-up question, and that is, you mentioned that the additional 20 cameras would not fully cover the road patrol. How many cameras would be required to fully cover the road patrol, through the chair?
Through the chair, we would need approximately 200 cameras.
Okay, so it's a small number. Thank you very much.
Legislator Hebert.
Through the chair, what kind of a license are we purchasing when you obtain these cameras?
Through the chair, the license covers the authority to use the camera and access the evidence storage software that comes with it. Has nothing to do with the data storage space, but it allows you to access the software to manage the evidence.
And is it an annual type license through the chair, or is it a perpetual?
Through the chair, there's multiple options available because of the quantity that we're purchasing. It makes more fiscal sense to purchase it on an annual basis.
Thank you.
Legislator Morelli.
Through you to the administration, I'd like to just go back to the question that Legislator Cayley asked. These cameras that we're purchasing, and on top of the 16 that we already have, they cannot be transferred from deputy to deputy. Is that correct?
Through the chair, they cannot be handed from one deputy on the day shift to the next deputy on the afternoon shift or something similar. They cannot be done that way unless you purchase multiple licenses for that piece of equipment. What we can do is, obviously, as soon as a deputy retires or is reassigned, we can take that camera away from them and reassign it to someone else.
So through the chair, it would be similar to the equipment that an officer would carry in terms of their weapon. It is assigned to that officer only, and then they take that home or is left at the station, whatever the case may be. But it's strictly assigned to that particular officer only, correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0187.
Moved by Legislator Rocco and seconded by Legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Barath.
Through the chair of the administration, I know from previous discussions that there is that the contract with the RGRTA is similar to or based upon the contract with the Monroe ambulance. Are there any significant differences between those two contracts, through the chair?
Madam Chairwoman, the terms and conditions of the two different contracts are very similar.
Thank you. And through the chair of the administration, it was mentioned in passing that there was a total radio capacity on the trunk system. And my question is, what is the total radio capacity on our trunk system? Through the chair.
Madam Chair, 15,000 radios.
15,000?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And admittedly, through the chair of the administration, including this contract, how many radios will we have on the trunk system through the chair?
Madam Chair, approximately 2,000.
2,000. So through the chair of the administration, it's correct to believe at this stage in time there's no real chance in the next 5 or 10 years we're going to hit the capacity through the chair?
Madam Chair, 5 or 10 years is a long time to speculate. I'd rather not do that.
Through the next 2 years, then, through the chair.
Madam Chair, I believe in the next 1 year we do not have significant plans to vastly expand the number of radios in use.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I'll ask you again in a year for the next year, then.
Thank you. Legislator Cayley.
Thank you. Madam Chair, through you to the administration. Considering the capacity that is out there, is the county pursuing other entities to engage in this type of contract?
Madam Chair, I don't believe it's a marketing plan, but under the existing parameters of the program, there are, by 2019, plans to add a number of users in the police service and the fire service.
Thank you. And then through you to the administration, Madam Chair, aside from RGRTA, my understanding was the majority of use in this were more emergency-based services or public safety. Is that correct?
Madam Chair, the users of the system are currently Public Works and Public Safety.
Thank you. And so then, through the chair, there is no restriction to public safety agencies going forward, entering into a contract?
Madam Chair, I'm not exactly sure what the legislator means by restrictions.
Well, okay. Let me ask it this way. RGRTA, thank you, through the chair, is not a public safety entity. It certainly has to deal with safe transportation, but it's not a public safety entity such as a fire department, a police department, or emergency services. So the question is, would the county be open to pursuing a contract or engaging in a contract with other entities that were not engaged in public safety or emergency preparedness down the road? What else can I say? Did I say that right? All right. You're right. I thought if I gave him an example, it would make it easier.
So, Madam Chair, currently and in the foreseeable future, all users of the system will be either government agencies or quasi-governmental agencies. For example, Monroe Ambulance, while a private entity, has always been a user of the 911 system and has service contracts with a variety of fire agencies and EMS agencies. Today, there is no contemplation of having a private for-profit entity not associated with municipal services on the system.
Thank you, I think. Moving on to something a little bit different through the chair. It was mentioned yesterday that
The fees were for an aging out of approximately 20 years. And that was a little confusing to me. In other words, the $925 a month, I understand that. But what was meant by 20-year retirement? Was that equipment? Was that service to the trunk system itself?
Madam Chair, that reflects the radio infrastructure, which would be the towers themselves and the equipment on the towers.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
And I think that's it. Thanks.
Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0188.
Moved by Legislator Ansello and seconded by Legislator Marionetti. Is there any other discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0189.
Moved by Legislator Marionetti and seconded by Legislator Hebert. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0190.
Moved by Legislator Hebert and seconded by Legislator Carbone. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Barath.
Through the chair of the administration, it's reference to the referral that the local share is 2.5% of the $250,000. Out of what fund is that coming, through the chair?
Through the chair, that will come from the capital fund that is going to be created by this referral, if acted upon by the full ledge.
Thank you. So at this moment in time, there is no capital fund, correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that is correct.
So through the chair of the administration, where are the funds currently that are going to go into that fund to pay the local share, through the chair?
Madam Chair, there are no funds to be transferred to this. As I mentioned at I believe the Transportation Committee, for the county to spend $1, there's only one of two ways to do so, and that is to have a budgetary appropriation already on the books, which we do not, or this legislative body has to authorize financing for the project. So if this referral were to pass the full legislature, we will create the capital fund and establish a capital budget in that capital fund in the amount of the financing authorized.
Which in this case would be $250,000 through the chair, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And then secondly, a more technical question. How many reflective backplates are going to be installed through this project, through the chair?
Through the chair, we're going to install them at 94 intersections that are county intersections out in the county.
Thank you. And finally, through the chair of the administration, I assume they've already been selected through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
And finally, we probably asked this question already, but when is the installation expected to be completed by? Through the chair.
Through the chair, sometime next year, 2018.
Legislator Cayley was that first?
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Legislator Barath. I'm sorry. Legislator Cayley?
Oh, thank
Did you
you.
have a question? I'm sorry.
Madam Chair, through you, assuming only knowing that much that I know about traffic lights and poles that have regards to banners being erected on them, and the stress that it puts on them, I'm assuming that the additional weight or wind shear or whatever you would call it is not going to be of any concern with the selected traffic lights?
Through the chair, that is correct. For the ones we are putting them on are all the ones with this in the county, the signals that have mast arms, and they can handle the additional loading.
Thank you.
Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Through you to the administration, is the reason for the reflective backplates due to new federal or state regulations, or is this just purely for safety purposes?
Through the chair, I would say they're, for new traffic signals, they are now requiring such, but it's more as a safety feature. We feel that it is appropriate to help with, it reduces certain types of accidents, especially helps with the sun glare, as well as could help, as I said at the previous committee, when we have dark signals, to give indication to motorists that there was a traffic signal there. There will be a reflected border around the the back plate. And you may have seen some of these at state intersections now. You don't see them too many at any county intersections, but provided we get approval here, you will.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0191.
Moved by legislator Carbone and seconded by legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0192.
Moved by legislator Delahanty and seconded by legislator Rocco. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Nay? All those in, it passes, sorry. All right, next item, please.
Referral 17-0193.
Moved by legislator Rocco and seconded by legislator Ansello. Is there any discussion on this? Legislator Kaley.
Through you to the administration. Obviously, this is a needed program. And the only question I had on this, and currently, well, actually, there's two, through you to the chair. How many children or children's families are currently receiving or benefiting from this particular service?
Through the chair, annually we provide service to approximately 400 children.
Thank you. And then just finally, knowing through the chair that it's never enough, could you estimate how many children might not be serviced?
Through the chair, I would be taking a wild guess. I'm sorry.
You can wild guess.
I can wild.
I won't hold it against you. Thank you, through the chair.
Through the chair, if we had unlimited funds, we could probably easily double that number.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0194.
Moved by legislator Ansello and seconded by legislator Marinetti. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0195.
Moved by legislator Marinetti and seconded by legislator Hebert. Any discussion on this? Legislator Barath.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, I understand why we're giving correct the assessment and for property that's at 3641 Dewey Avenue. My question is I believe that this property was Angelo's Restaurant, and why is it being given an exemption at this point in time? Through the chair.
Through the chair, the property was seized by the federal government. I'm not sure exactly what the reason was. So once the property is seized by the federal government, it becomes exempt. It happened previously, and the assessor's office didn't change the roll section from 1 to 8 to make it exempt, so therefore we're correcting it now.
Thank you. So through the chair of the administration, essentially we try to charge taxes to the federal government, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0196.
Moved by legislator Hebert and seconded by legislator Carbone. Any discussion on this? Legislator Kaley.
Thank you. If I may, through the chairwoman to the administration, could you please, I was sitting in on yesterday's session, but could you please confirm the capacity of the rack that we're talking about here?
Legislator Kaley, can you be more specific with your question there?
Sure.
Rack.
I stated it wrong. Through you to the administration, the capacity of the room.
Okay.
How many racks?
Through the chair, 21 racks.
Thank you. And through the chair to the administration, what type of service is being handled by Monroe County for the town of Greece? Or let me ask through the chair, no other services other than the rack itself and the physical space?
Through the chair, just the rack space and all the things that go with it, the power, the cooling, the electric.
Thank you. Then through the chair, no equipment whatsoever. I'm sorry, no server equipment whatsoever.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. And could I confirm that once we enter into this through the chair, that this will be the opening of potential agreements with other government entities only?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. And that through the chair, you won't have to come back to this body for that approval.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. I realized from yesterday through the chair that Greece sought a new supplier or a new storage area for their data, and that their contract was up. Anecdotally, did Greece, the town of Greece, share their expiring contract with Monroe County?
Through the chair, not to our knowledge.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair, is county storage is on the same site, am I correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Thank you. And is county storage, through the chair, in the same room?
Through the chair, that's correct. It will not be in the same room.
It will not be in the same room. Thank you. Same building. Will we have, thank you, through the chair, obviously Greece will handle their own installation?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct, with our supervision.
Thank you. And then do we have, considering through the chair that we have 21 racks and that's room for other governments to come in, and they may well come in, do we have a written protocol for access to maintain security?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. We're fine-tuning it right now.
Thank you. And then I'm assuming through the chair that that will be shared with whatever government entity is going to take us up on this service.
Through the chair, that's correct. It'll be part of the contract.
Thank you. And then finally, I would ask through the chair that I receive a copy of the policy as soon as it's completed.
Through the chair, yes, we can do that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Legislator Barath.
Through the chair of the administration, I may have I misheard or did not hear correctly. Am I correct to understand that if other governmental agencies make a contract with the county, they will not have to come before this body? Is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct, as long as it's another governmental agency.
Thank you. Through the chair of the administration, will these other governmental agencies be bound by the same terms and practices associated with this contract with Greece, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
So in terms of length of contract, pricing associated with the racks, and any other installation or maintenance terms, those are all going to be identical with as the term we have with Greece, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct. It will be subject to review, annual review for all the contracts as rates go up and down.
Thank you, but it is the intent that all the contracts will be for the same rates, correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
And finally, on an unrelated note, I believe it was asked earlier that who owned the building, and the answer was the county. Is that correct, through the chair?
Through the chair, that's correct.
But so not the airport authority, through the chair?
Through the chair, correct, not the airport authority.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? I'm sorry, Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through the administration, what type of data is it that that the town of Greece is storing in this facility?
Through the chair, initially they plan to use the site as for DR purposes for their phone system.
And Through you, Madam Chairman, currently what what the county uses the storage, let me start over. The county is currently using the space for our own data storage, is that correct?
Through the chair, that's correct.
And through you, Madam Chairwoman, what type of data are we, the county, storing in that building?
Through the chair, all sorts of data. It's a redundant site for the county, so files, databases, documents, as well as the Linnell security.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Legislator Kaley.
Sorry, I'll try to make this quick. Through the chairwoman, what will be the standard termination clause for a contract like this, considering that this is storing something off-site, their data, what would be a standard termination clause?
Through the chair, we're asking for 30 days. It's going to be negotiated.
Madam Chair, through the administration, I'm a little bit surprised. Our cancellation clause or theirs, if they choose to withdraw after their, for any reason?
Through the chair, for both parties.
Thank you. Again, I'm a little bit surprised because this is like a big thing, not a little thing. But if that's what's agreed upon, through the chair, that's what agreed upon. I would have said 60 to 90 days notice, but okay. And just through the chairwoman to the administration, in that you have all this rack space, and I don't know what the capacity is for the server that the county actually has the county at this point contemplated hosting storage within their own equipment, within their own servers, which is not outside the realm of possibilities?
Through the chair, can you rephrase the question, please?
Thank you. What's happening right now, if I could just explain through the chair, we are supplying a rack and a room and the fans and the electricity, and they're bringing in their own equipment. But like there is cloud storage, there are also companies and entities that have additional drives that would go in their own server that would be host spaces for other entities' storage. And I guess that's what I'm getting at. Has the county contemplated that?
Through the chair, that is not part of this project and has not been contemplated at this time.
Okay, thank you. Then the last question would be, if in fact, and this is more legal, Madam Chair, through you to the administration, if in fact that was contemplated, would the county executive need to come back to this body for approval?
Through the chair, yes.
Thank you. Well done.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0197.
Moved by legislator Carbone and seconded by legislator Delahanty. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0198.
Moved by legislator Delahanty, seconded by legislator Rocco. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0202.
Moved by legislator Rocco and seconded by legislator Ansello. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Thank you, Sal. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0203.
Moved by legislator Ansello and seconded by legislator Marinetti. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0204.
Moved by legislator Marinetti and seconded by legislator Hebert. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 17-0205.
Moved by legislator Hebert and seconded by legislator Carbone. Any discussion on this? And of course there is. Legislator, you always say that.
I know I always say that, sorry.
That's all right. Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the administration. I have to admit, Ridgeway, hearing any more construction on Ridgeway Avenue is problematic for me because we have just found out that we might finally be done within the year for the city portion of Ridgeway Avenue. And of course, through you, this section that you're talking about is one of my main modes of traffic, if not to ESL, but Starbucks at the corner. Can you tell me through the chair when this starts, about the scope of it, about how long it will take to do, and how much disruption there'll actually be to the area, considering that it is in front of the firehouse, if I'm correct?
Through the chair, it actually starts right around the firehouse and then proceeds westerly to the signalized intersection for that little plaza.
Starbucks.
We will initiate design once we get approval from this, from the legislature. And we have construction funding from the federal government for 2020. So it won't be for another 3 years, and it should be done in part of one season, I would say.
Okay, thank you. And last one.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Sure.
When it does start, do you anticipate detour or just half-lane traffic going one way or the other?
No, through the chair, it'll be widening on both sides of the road is what I anticipate at this time. So traffic two-way traffic will always be maintained. However, at times it might be down to alternating traffic during the construction, but I won't even say that at this time. We anticipate being able to maintain. I would say that would be a good bet. It would be we'd go down to one lane during construction daytime, and at the end of the day, open it two-way. But for the most part, two-way traffic all the time.
All right, thank you. And it's good to hear. I believe that it needs to be done as well, but
You'll still be able
Ridgeway
to get
is a Ridgeway.
Yeah, you'll be able to get to
Yes.
Starbucks still.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Is there any other matters to come before this committee tonight? Seeing none, the June 27th meeting of the Ways and Means will come, is adjourned, and the next meeting will be Tuesday, July 25th at 6 p.m. Thank you very much, and everyone have a safe and happy 4th of July weekend.